So welcome to 30-minute meditation. This is our crystal bowl session, which is our Wednesday 3 o'clock. And as I always advertise, this is also a little bit about crystals, rocks and reiki. And I realise we haven't really talked that much about either of those things in that much detail, which we will do a lot more of in the next few weeks, as I guess we're going to have lots of these. But today I really wanted to sort of start at the beginning and talk a little bit about the basics of using crystals. You can probably see, or maybe you can't see, I've brought quite a few, only as far as from the windowsill, so not very far, down into the sound space, so I can share a bit more with you today. But really what I wanted to share is that crystals are such an amazing tool. It's something I think a lot of people have a lot of suspicion about. A lot of people find it really esoteric, and how can a piece of rock in any way support my well-being, my practice, whether it's yoga, meditation or whatever else you're interested in pursuing. And I guess like anyone who is interested in and trains in crystal reiki, I'm here to tell you that they can do all sorts of amazing things. We did touch on briefly a few weeks ago the idea and the concept of all crystals or rocks or stones being created, hi Andrea, at the kind of inception of the planet. So everything that we're using, all of these little rocks, stones, anything that you pick up in a crystal shop or through a healer, they didn't just make them. You know, obviously people just make them in China, so don't buy those ones. But they weren't just made; they were created as part of the Earth's core. Some of them nearer the surface, some very deep under the surface, far under the crust, and all the very many different ways we can perceive crystals, how they look, is really all about their formation and their natural geology. Sorry, I can hear my cat trying to get in, so you might hear a little scratching until the sound starts and he knows it's not for him. Hello Val, how are you? Where was I? So yeah, crystals have all sorts of benefits. They come to us in all sorts of ways, but the one thing we need to do in order to benefit from them is to prepare them. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Crystals absorb all sorts of energy, both positive and negative. And that's really because of their own chemical makeup, their internal chemistry, their internal geology. If you do work with rocks at all already, you'll know that when you hold them in your hand, you may just feel like you're holding a rock, in which case it's not programmed and not ready for you, or maybe it's just not for you. Or you may feel immediate elemental connection, whether it's heat or liquid or kind of air. I often feel very grounded, a real earthiness, like roots are coming from the crystal down through my hand. So it's good to kind of spend time, and if you have anything with you right now that you're bringing to this session, it's really good just to spend time with it in your hand and just get used to how it feels, see if it's talking to you in some way, connecting with you. So in order to make our crystals function, we need to cleanse them, particularly if, like me, you wear a lot of crystal jewellery. It will be picking up your vibrations, picking up the energy around you every time you wear it or touch it. So even me handling all of these now is programming them with my nervous energy and anxiety that the cat's about to start crying or the internet's going to go off. And this little tourmaline, although it's very protective, will now have a bit of negativity in it. So that will need cleansing before I use it for anything really important. Hi Adita. And there's loads of ways we can cleanse crystals. So one of the easy ways that most people can do at home is to use salt. You can use any kind of salt in theory. I wouldn't recommend any kind of iodized table salt, but certainly any kind of rock salt, sea salt, anything that's natural. There's an amazing salt near where I come from, where my parents live, near Malden in Essex, and that's a really pure rock salt, which is great. You can get that in most supermarkets. Other salts are available. The rock salt in Ibiza, if you happen to be there or have some of that, is incredible. And I really like to use this stuff, pink Himalayan salt, which is incredibly salty. Weirdly, it's really, really, really useful for cooking, so you don't need very much of it to go a long way. The way you can use this, you can just sprinkle it over your crystals, but it's quite nice to work with it with the elements. So I like to use liquid. I've today got some water in my favourite singing bowl, and the only thing I need to do to make it work is to just sprinkle a little rock salt into the water. Good idea to be inviting cleansing thoughts in while I'm doing that. And then all I would need to do would be to place my crystal, in this case my lovely black tourmaline, into my salty water and wait. And can't make you guys see it very easily. And it's that simple. So often you can make a big old bowl of crystals filled with rock salt, filled with Himalayan salt, sit them out on the side for a while, hang out with them, tell them they're being cleansed. And that's one really easy way to get your crystals ready to go. Another really easy way to cleanse them, if you do happen to have the tools at home, is white sage, and this is what I love to do. White sage is an amazing antioxidant healing herb. It's native to Southern California and Northern Mexico, so pretty much along the Mexican border from California through Arizona and into parts of Texas, but really the Californian stuff is the good stuff. I think it's called Salvia appia is the Latin name for it, and it's really gentle. It's incredibly antioxidant, and I use this every single day in my house. I walk around the house in the morning with a big smudge stick and I smudge into the corners. I ask any negative energy to move on, to say thank you for whatever it's brought us, but to leave us for today and move somewhere else. And I use this for preparing the sound space, so I pass it in front of the gongs. Before I play them, I pass it around myself. It's a really great way to cleanse your own aura, to cleanse your chakras. It's great around the feet. If you're carrying anything on your feet from the outside world into your sacred space, and I usually do this in sound baths, I'll have everyone lie down and make sure that I've saged all their feet before we get going. So the way it works with crystals, and again, you might be working with a bunch of sage, you might be working with, as I am, the loose leaf variety. I won't be able to even light a match today. It's that kind of a day, I think. I really won't. So the way I work with the sage is to light a couple of the big bits. You just let it smoke for just a second. You'll know because the smoke will start to go up, and you will start wondering if you remember to move your fire alarm, the smoke alarm, which I often don't. And then once you've got some smoke like this, you can blow out the flame. I wish you guys could smell this through the magic of the internet. It's the most amazing smell. It's kind of cleansing and fresh, but a little bit bitter, a little bit herby. This is used by shamans, healers, medicine women, witches, pagans all over the world in ceremony, and I use this every day. The way it works with a crystal, you can do it with something really small like this little rose quartz. It's just to pass the crystal through the sage, through the smoke. And it's really interesting to watch. I've done loads of little videos on my Instagram that you can see with this, where the smoke almost clings to the surface of the crystal and then kind of wafts away from it. And I love the idea that it's just taking away any of the negative energies that it doesn't need anymore. So it's another super easy way to prepare your crystals. Leave that going for a second. Another easy way, if you have big ones like this large cluster of quartz, is that you can use quartz, or carnelian actually works for this also. Quartz or carnelian can be used to cleanse other crystals. So for example, this little piece of lapis I can place onto my quartz cluster, and that's doing its magic all by itself without me needing to do anything else at all. So quartz will of course need cleansing on its own afterwards, but that's another way you can prepare. And the final way, and the way that probably I love most of all, and I think most shamans, healers and energy workers do, is the moon. Can't go wrong. I don't know why I'm pointing because it's really sunny. But the moon, which is the most amazing, powerful healer and cleanser, and you can't have failed to miss the full moon last week, the full moon in Libra, that was just so glowing and huge and incredible and powerful. I normally like to take a tray. I get every tray in the house, walk around the house collecting all my crystals, and then I go and put them out in the light of the full moon and pick them up in the morning, good to go. And my partner and everyone else thinks I've lost it, but nothing works as well. So those are the ways you can cleanse your crystals: salt water, using a quartz cluster, using sage, or out in the moonlight. I've also recently taken, I'm demonstrating again with my bowl, to cleansing with sound. I mean, sound is, as hopefully why you're all here, an amazing cleansing ritual. So I like to put my crystals, especially before doing a Katara reading or something where I'm just using a few, pop them into my bowl, set the sound moving. Take takes a little longer because when the bowl's got water in it, it changes the frequency and the pitch at which it plays. I wish I could show you guys this properly. Although with the surface of the water, you can see the vibrations going into the water now, and they're going into the crystal. So I'm going to do after this a little Instagram live video, which you'll be able to see on my Instagram @_silence and noise_. I'll do it live, and I'm going to post it afterwards on IGTV, and I'll do a close-up on this bowl so you can have a look and just see the magic of those vibrations rippling through the water, rippling into that crystal. It's just amazing. So if you happen to have a singing bowl, if you're a yoga teacher, or if you just like them like I do, that is a beautiful way to cleanse as well. So the final part before we get into the sound today, the final part of cleansing your crystals is activating them. Once you've done whichever ritual you're going to do to get them actually cleansed, it's really important to program them. Otherwise they're just a bit of rock. And that's the thing we don't want. We want them to perform for us, to channel, to transmute, to bring us positive energy, to take the bad energy away, to get into our aura, our chakra system, and to balance it deeply. So taking your crystal in your hand, connecting with it as I asked you to do at the beginning of this session, holding it perhaps close to a chakra that resonates for you. For me, the heart usually works really well. Or just holding it in your palm. I like to also meditate like this, just holding one softly. And get back to that sense of feeling. Is the heat in your palm? Can you feel the energy of the crystal? Can you feel kind of any quality that might feel liquidy or earthy? Or does it feel like it's floating? You know it's there, but it's floating away from you. All of these cues are clues to let you know that the crystal is cleansed and ready for your intention, ready to be programmed. So when you're programming your crystal, if being specific is really important. Just bring me good luck is kind of a 4-leaf clover type trick. What we really want to do is to give it something specific. So for example, this amethyst I work with a lot for opening my third eye, for working with my intuition. So I'm going to say that this crystal is being cleansed, and I wish to activate it and program it with my intention for creating clarity in my intuitive vision. I'm going to ask the crystal to work with me in that sense, bring its energy into my energy field, and be very specific about how we're going to work together. So if you're working with a crystal now, now's a really good time to program it with your intention. Close your eyes for just a moment, and when you've infused your intention into the rock, look again for those elemental cues. If you can't feel any, it's probably not the right one, or this isn't the right time to be using it, or maybe it's not the right method that you're working with to cleanse it. I can feel this amethyst almost bouncing out of my hand, and I can feel the heat all over the surface of it, and yet it feels cool to touch. So it's tingling, it's vibrating. The inner chemistry and geology of the rock is doing something. I can feel it. So I'm pretty happy that this is my amethyst, and it's going to work with me intuitively. So just before we get into the sound, it's worth mentioning if you are Reiki attuned, and the reason I call this Rocks and Reiki is that I am, and I always use Reiki at this point. So opening your Reiki channel, inviting your Reiki energy in for yourself as a channel into your rock or your crystal, using your portal, your channel as a channel for good, for the highest good, for yourself, for all people, for everyone that you're working with this and other rocks. And you can infuse not only intention but Reiki energy into your rock, which will make it extra powerful. And if you're using it for healing for yourself or others, that's a really great process to go through. So I think next week we'll probably talk about using rocks for healing, how to place them on the body, where to place them, the intentions to place them with. And hopefully that'll be something that you guys will find useful during this extended period of home healing. So that's just a little bit about your crystals, about the basics of how to look after them, take care of them. They're living, energetic beings. I know they look like rocks, but they're not. They're living, they carry energy, they carry vibration, they respond to vibration. That's why I ask you to spend time holding them and connecting with them. If they get too hot or too cold, they won't like it. Don't leave them in the sun. I have all of mine on my very sunny windowsill here, but I take them all off when it's this bright, and I only put them up there during sessions to take a little bit of sunlight energy in. Try not to drop them. If they do break, that means something. It means they have either served their purpose or they need to be in different places. I broke a smoky quartz recently that I was devastated about. I brought it all the way back from California and I love it so much that I dropped it and broke it on a gong stand, and now I have one piece in here and one piece in the bedroom, and it feels like it's working better than ever before. So if you're working with a crystal today, take it into your hand. If you are not in a position that you want to be in for receiving sound, then you can make that shift now. Find yourself seated or lying down. If you're in a bright place, or even if you're not, maybe cover your eyes. A eye pillow is great, or one of those ones I always swipe from Virgin when I'm on a plane, or just a scarf or a bit of fabric, whatever's nearby. I've seen people use tea towels in sound sessions. If you're working with your crystal today, take it in your palms, hold it close to your heart, take a deep inhale, and as you inhale, tell yourself that you're inhaling the energy of nature, the energy of Mother Nature through this crystal into your body, into your being, and into your heart. As you exhale, feel any negativity, anything you need to release today, shift out of your body, leaving a clean, light, vibrant space that the energy from the crystal can move into. Take a few more breaths in and out, gently working with your reiki energy if that's something you're attuned to that works for you. And working with your crystal energy either way. If you don't have a crystal, that's fine. You can just hold your hands in your lap or at your heart if that makes sense, or maybe thumb and middle finger on your knees, or just any way you like. But wherever you are, feel in your palms the elements. See if you can feel heat or liquid, hot or cold, tingling. My hands feel like I've got pins and needles all the way through them because I've been holding those rocks. We'll move into the sound, so take a few more deep breaths and just set your intention, if you haven't already. Know what it is you'd like to receive from your meditation today. Gently setting an intention that feels true for you, remembering to offer it for your own highest good and that of all those around you in your life and beyond. We'll begin with a few chimes from the Himalayan bowls before we move into the quartz crystal bowls today. Hear that little rattle. The mic is so detailed, picks up such a lot. That first bowl has a little rattle in it where the crystal's in the water inside the bowl, and the bowl's sat absolutely still. I'm not touching it, it's just the vibrations from the water being absorbed by the crystal. They're giving it that sound. See if you can hear it now. It's like it's bouncing out the bowl. gently drawing your awareness back through your body, perhaps through your crystal if you've been working with one. Become aware of your fingers and your toes, the breath on your lips, the warmth in your palms, the earth beneath your limbs, the liquid in your heart. Keeping your eyes closed and reconnecting back to your crystal, back to your reiki energy if it's in your practice today. Send your awareness to whatever feels like north for you. Feeling the element of earth, roots, family and ancestors. To the east, air, clarity, intellect, knowledge and source. To the south, fire, courage, motivation, action, activity. And to the west, water, emotions, compassion, fluidity and transformation. Feel yourself at the perfect balance, the perfect equilibrium of the four elements. And draw inwards one last time and identify yourself as the fifth element, spirit, the void, the part where all the other four meet, together creating life. Softly blinking your eyes back open into the spring light, into April. And just as a crystal is a perfect amalgamation of all the elements of geology, of nature, of creation, so are we, and I think these magical little rocks have a great way of helping us reconnect to that. So thank you so much for joining me today for your 30-minute meditation, which has actually been 39 minutes, I notice. A bit too much chatter at the beginning. If you have any questions about working with crystals, about cleansing them, about using them in any way you've seen me use them today or in other sessions, just feel free to drop me a message. You can catch me through all the contact details on my website, which are all on, so you will be able to find them easily, I hope. The next 30-minute meditation is on Friday at 6 p.m. Back here. That will be Sounds from Outer Space, which is primarily focused on the gorgeous gongs. And on Sundays at 7 we have the Big Chill Sunday Sound Sanctuary, which is a paid-for session. It's not excessive. It's a £5 if you're on a concession at the moment, which many of us are. So if you're self-employed, if you're feeling the pinch in these weird and wonderful times, if you're over 70, if you're in a 12-week isolation, then it's a £5. It's £8 standard, and it's free if you work for the NHS or are a key worker or care worker. If you're not sure where you fall, just feel free to drop me a message, but it is an honesty-based system, so you can jump online and purchase your tickets. I'm not going to send the police around or anything. Tickets are household as well, so if you'd like to involve your partner, your family, your pets, your kids, please do so. Just remember that either you need a set of earphones each, or you need a really nice speaker, or not even a really nice one, but something like a Sonos or a Ultimate Ears works really well. Turned out that they're good enough to capture the depth and density of the gongs. I've had loads of amazing emails from people who are finding everything from their kids finding the gongs to be a sleep aid, which is a handy side effect, to their very angsty dogs calming down, also their very angsty partner calming down. So do feel free to share and introduce the sound to anyone you think might benefit from it at any time, but particularly at the moment. So I hope to see and hear lots of you soon. My name is Jane. This has been 30-minute meditation, and have a beautiful rest of Wednesday. Namaste.